It's changed the way I teach, it's changed the way I communicate with students.
The tools are easier to use with it, even though the information is challenging.
Tablets are our future, so it can only benefit him that he's been through this program at this stage in his life.
I think that the iPad is really causing them to ask questions. It's fostering their curiosity in ways that perhaps they haven't had before, and they're having to find ways to problem solve.
The students are more on top of their grades. I have less missing assignments because they're able to check everything on here.
If they have a question, they can either raise their hand and wait for me to come around, or they can Google it and find some answers as well. So it's that instant feedback, instant access that is kind of unique. You don't get that with paper and pencil.
And it's helped with the assignments as well, because we have one PDF file that goes right from our notes into the assignment problems. So to have it just all in one fluid document for organization and for the time management in that sense, I think it's a helpful tool.
Math class, it's a lot easier. Like for graphing, we usually do all our homework on the iPad now. We can write all the equations out, graph things a lot easier. English, we're doing grammar right now, so it's really easy. We do all our worksheets on that.
In iBooks, you can highlight passages and you can search words that are in the book so you can find quotations really easily. And you can also put notes into it and bookmark things, so it's really nicer than a real book.
I just read Romeo and Juliet with the students, and so there's an app for that. It had audio, it had the text, and it also had a graphic novel component. So that all augmented kind of how I taught Romeo and Juliet.
If I forget my textbook at school for science, I have a textbook right on my iPad that I can go to easier. I'll go to one of the apps and it'll be like kind of like a definition thing. I'll type in chemistry and it gives me definitions and examples and everything of it. It's really nice because like all these apps are helping me even more. It's like having your own teacher at your home.
The iPad has allowed me to get feedback from them in terms of how they're learning in a much more immediate way through things like Google Forms that they can access with their iPad immediately. And also with Skyward, there's an online assessment component that also gives me feedback.
When I give them a formative assessment, normally I would give it on paper pencil, take it home, try and grade it as quickly as I can, bring it back the next day, teach them a new topic and say, okay, I gotta try and talk to these 5 kids who totally didn't get it, and do that sometime during work time. Hopefully I have time to do that the next day. Now what I have them doing is it's grading it automatically on Skyward or Schoology. I'm getting the results on my iPad as I'm walking around before everybody's even done with it. I'm correcting certain kids like, hey, I saw they got 1 out of 5 right. Here's what I noticed you're doing wrong. And I'm able to fix it before they even do their homework that night instead of days afterwards, which is just amazing to me. I've never been able to do that before.
So far, what I've seen in our experience has been that there's been very little distraction and more on top of school. He actually enjoys the school part being on a tablet. So I see him more in depth there. I also see him studying more, which was a cause of concern for us coming into high school, because he's studying on a computer and he loves computers.
These kids are very technologically oriented and they know a lot. And so at the same time as they're learning the content from me, I'm learning from them. Usually I come in and I'm the expert. And this time, it's shared knowledge.
The area that it's been most helpful is organization, having kind of the one-stop shop.
For me, it's easier to have an iPad when I get home because when I had like papers, I always lose them and I just make a mess. And iPads, like, it's just open it, do your homework, close it, put it on your bag, and that's it.
In my iPad, I keep open all the websites that I went to, so when I get home, I can see all my notes and what we went over in class, so like I remember it and I know what my homework is.
I look at it as a way to enable students to be able to get their work done, and candidly, there's no excuse now. Oh, you know, mom and dad are on the computer, when is it my turn? Well, guess what? You know, you have the means, the school has given the child the means to be able to be productive, and I think that's the best thing. Anytime, anywhere, kind of this follow me desktop.